Welcome to my extended series on alternative medicine. This is the first set of videos I'll be doing to demonstrate how to apply principles of scientific skepticism to specific issues. I'm deliberately going to focus on areas where there is substantial confusion among the general public, but where there is very little disagreement among the relevant scientific experts. Before we look at any specific subjects that usually fall under the banner of alternative medicine, like homeopathy, acupuncture, and chiropractic, let's look at the phenomenon of alternative medicine in general. The first thing we should do is define our terms. There are more and less charitable definitions of alternative medicine. A more charitable definition would be practices claimed to have medical efficacy that fall outside the scope of the accepted mainstream. A less charitable, but in my opinion more accurate, definition would be unproven, disproven, or unprovable practices that are promoted as though they have medical efficacy. Alternative medicine is discussed by many different names: quackery, complementary and alternative medicine, or CAM, and even the more legitimate sounding integrative medicine. Supporters of alternative medicine make many broad claims in its favor, such as: number 1, alternative medicine avoids the overprescribing of drugs and focuses on natural forms of healthcare. 2, alternative medicine avoids conflicts of interest that are inherent in the pharmaceutical industry and thus is more trustworthy. 3, alternative medicine is safer. And 4, alternative medicine is more holistic. It focuses on the entire person rather than treating symptoms, a common phrase you'll hear from proponents. Throughout this series, we'll see how each of these claims does not stand up to scrutiny. While the overprescription of drugs is certainly an issue within accepted mainstream health treatments, alternative medicine will instead prescribe non-evidence-based, so-called natural treatments. When considering the appropriateness of any treatment, what's important is the actual evidence base to support it, not whether it's natural. The naturalness of a treatment is difficult to define and bears no relationship to its efficacy and safety, yet the illusion that natural is better can be attractive. There are many so-called natural treatments that are dangerous even in small doses. Conflicts of interest are no less of a problem within alternative medicine. While many people will condemn big pharma, referring to the very profitable pharmaceutical industry, alternative medicine is big business too. About $30 billion a year is spent by Americans on alternative medicine treatments, and in general, alternative medicine is regulated much less than mainstream health treatments. As for alternative medicine being safer, proponents may misleadingly point out that some accepted mainstream forms of medicine have caused more problems than the supposed alternative. This confuses things on at least 2 levels. Confusion 1 being that it ignores evidence of efficacy. If treatment A, the mainstream one, is remarkably effective at preventing a disease, but treatment B, the alternative one, has no efficacy, yet treatment A has more side effects, it makes no sense to complain about A being more dangerous than B. Confusion 2. We are often blind to what would have happened in the absence of taking the accepted mainstream treatment. If treatment A has side effects, but not taking it would result in a worse outcome, it is irrational to focus on the side effects alone without comparison. Furthermore, claims of alternative medicine's safety are largely unsubstantiated. For example, out of the over 50,000 dietary supplement products that came to market in the US since the passing of the Dietary Supplement Health and Education Act in 1994, only 0.3%, or 170, have documented evidence of safety. Yet supplements feature heavily in alternative medicine, despite this lack of evidence. And fourth, is it true that alternative medicine is more holistic, as it claims to be? Does mainstream medicine really just treat symptoms? If you check any mainstream health authority, they recommend things like a proper diet, exercise, not smoking, and other non-medication-based lifestyle factors for optimal health. If some alternative medicine providers also recommend this, then these recommendations clearly do not stray from the established evidence-based mainstream guidelines. Meanwhile, alternative medicine practitioners typically also provide forms of unproven and/or disproven treatments. In this series, we'll turn a skeptical eye to some of the most popular forms of alternative medicine, such as homeopathy, acupuncture, and chiropractic, and look at how we ought to evaluate scientific claims surrounding these dubious practices. To do so, we need to understand the mechanics of how people can think an intervention or treatment works when the evidence suggests otherwise. But first, why does any of this matter? A lot of people use alternative medicine, wasting lots of money and exposing themselves to unnecessary harm, either as a direct result of the treatment or by substituting actually effective treatments with bogus ones. About 40% of Americans use some form of alternative medicine, according to the latest systematic review on the topic, with differing, non-trivial percentages in other developed countries. There are now copious data on the harms this can produce. For example, alternative medicine for cancer treatment was found to be associated with a significant increase in mortality. Furthermore, a 2004 Canadian survey of naturopaths found that only 13% of them would recommend full vaccination according to the accepted vaccination schedule. We will dig into the specific harms associated with specific forms of alternative medicine in future videos. So, why are people drawn to alternative medicine? Much of its allure is due to mistaking an actual benefit from the intervention with a supposed benefit from a placebo effect. People frequently use their personal experience with alternative medicine to evaluate the efficacy of an intervention rather than published statistical evidence in reputable scientific journals. This leaves them vulnerable to confusing benefits that supposedly arose from an intervention with effects that arose from other sources. In other words, they're falling victim to well-known cognitive illusions. Join me in the next video for an exploration of the fascinating world of placebo effects.